The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. PowerPoint by Noah Viasana. Author's credentials. Malcolm Gladwell worked for a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C., and after that he was hired in 1987 as a business and science writer for the Washington Post newspaper. He served from 1993 to 1996 as the Post New York bureau chief before working for The New Yorker in 1996 as a staff writer for the magazine. A brief synopsis. The tipping point is about when an idea, social behavior, or trend begins to become popular in the world. The three rules of epidemics determine when and whether an object will reach its tipping point. These three rules are the law of the few, the stickiness factor, and the power of context. The three rules of epidemics. The law of the few is the first rule. For an idea, social behavior, or trend to become popular in the world, it must be pushed into popularity by groups that are called connectors, mavens, and salesmen. The connectors are people who basically help make new connections and relationships that would not happen without the help of someone. Mavens are people who enjoy helping others make decisions. And salesmen are outgoing people who use their personality to persuade other people buying decisions and actions. The stickiness factor. The stickiness factor is a unique quality that helps a trend stay in the mind of people to influence their future behaviors. For example, the show Sesame Street helped improve children's literacy, but in the time period when it came out, TV for children was considered bad, so this new TV show went against the time period conventional wisdom. So another attribute of the stickiness factor is that the factor would go against the conventional wisdom of that time period. The last rule of epidemic, the power of context. To show what the power of context is, Malcolm Gladwell takes on the decline in violent crimes throughout the 1990s in New York City. Malcolm Gladwell does acknowledge that there could be many factors going into the decline in violent crimes in New York in the 90s. He says that small influential changes in the environment of the city caused these factors to tip the decline in violent crimes in New York. Case studies. Case study 1. Malcolm Gladwell discusses the rise and decline of Airwalk shoes, and these shoes were geared towards the skateboarding culture in Southern California. The company wanted to blow up and not stay in the tiny market that they were. The company had a unique strategy of offering different products to boutique stores and then a different shoe to the big stores to attract everyone. But as time went on, the company started to produce one shoe and the popularity died out. Case study 2. The persistent problem of teen cigarette usage in the United States. Teens are induced to become involved in potentially lethal actions. Malcolm Gladwell asserts that the trend was from these two main factors. First, teenagers are inherently encouraged to imitate others and try on new behaviors and attitudes during their adolescence. And another factor that affects teenagers is the types of people who are more likely to engage in dramatic, easily and romanticized behavior such as early cigarette smoking. Class topics, challenges to the status quo / practical applications. Social psychology is a broad field devoted to studying the way that people relate to others. A major influence on the first two areas in social psychology are attitude formation, attribution theory, and attribution theory is social cognition. Social psychology has this theory called attribution theory, in which if someone thinks an item is cool, then you would think they are cool because other people say they are cool, which causes them to be cool and would make the item cool and popular, which would cause the tipping point and the phenomenon known as the tipping point. My book has not really agreed with what we've discussed because it talks about the phenomenon called the tipping point, in which something becomes popular in a matter of seconds or weeks. It really depends. To be honest, I am iffy on the book because I do not really like to read in general, so every book I read is iffy, except Game of Thrones. It suggests that this book is up to date with when it was written. It is not controversial, and it does not suggest we maintain the status quo. The views in this book would contribute to current situations if someone is addicted to shopping or some other things, such as drugs, alcohol, smoking cigarettes. Anything that is popular can be attributed or can be pushed towards this theory of the tipping point because it makes people think that it is cool if more and more people will do it, such as in case study 2, when there are more teens and stuff smoke cigarettes and do stuff like that. Thank you. This has been my presentation over the book, The Tipping Point.